Oh, I'm done. Oh my god. Oh, I'm crying. Oh. See, there's cool parts about podcasts being available, especially Star Wars podcasts, because people really dig in deep. The bad part about Star Wars podcasts is that while they don't know the script, and they don't know what happens, they don't know the spoilers, they're really good at guessing. So I was listening to a Star Wars podcast, and they predicted something like this would happen, and I didn't even think about it. And then when they said it, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So when Luke made an appearance, I was still like so psyched, but I wasn't completely shocked, and I think I would have been completely shocked if I didn't listen to these Star Wars podcasts. So, listen, it's a double-edged sword. That being said, even if I did know, Luke's reveal and appearance was just incredible. I mean, there was a little bit of an uncanny valley because, you don't necessarily want to hire a look-alike actor because people may not know who he is. So the technology is getting better. It's better than it was in Rogue One, but, you can kind of, suspend the disbelief because the emotion is so great. So yeah, I mean, the episode was, the ending just, made it one of the best episodes of Mandalorian ever, one of the best episodes in television history. I'm just dealing with the feeling of seeing Luke. Luke's my favorite Star Wars character. I was 4. Well, I was born when Star Wars came out, and I think I remember seeing Empire in the theaters, but I was really young. I was like 4, and then I was around 7 or 6 when Jedi came out, and that's like one of my greatest memories of my life, seeing Jedi, and I was just attached to Luke. I kind of looked like Mark Hamill a little bit, same color hair. Now I don't have hair, but growing up, I identified with Luke. And on an aside, this is why diversity is so important in movies, because Luke inspired me. As a person, he inspired me. And I think a lot of that had to do with, oh, wow, I kind of look like him. And this is why we need more diverse superheroes of all colors and genders. So it inspires kids, maybe not to be a superhero or a Jedi, because those don't exist, but maybe aspire to be something better than they think they can be. So with that, the episode itself was, it began in a solid way. I had some questions where it's like, well, there were 3 Mandalorians, and there was, one guy, and he wasn't there. What happens to Boba Fett? Where did he go? Why didn't Boba Fett come back? I thought when Luke's ship was being identified, I thought maybe Fett was coming back, but I guess that might have been too predictable. So yeah, the action was good. The planning was good of the battle. I love how the women took charge. Bo-Katan took charge. They weren't, the women characters weren't secondary. They weren't just, a love interest or a goal of the male characters. Bo-Katan, this was Bo-Katan's plan to do that. And, her character being even more fleshed out from her appearances in the cartoons. And I imagine we will see more of her, especially since that Darksaber matter was very much unresolved. And now that Grogu is, I guess, for lack of a better term, out of the way, and that's really sad, we get to see what the Mandalorian does next. I am curious now what happened to Grogu, because there's no mention of him at all in any of the sequel trilogy. So I hope he didn't die. I hope he goes off somewhere safe with all the other Yodas, but that's something, of course, I would imagine that's something that can be hopefully explored in the books, TV series, cartoons, moving forward. But what a ride, what an emotional ride. And, The Mandalorian certainly has fan service, but fan service isn't all bad. Bad fan service is when you just make an appearance of something just to satisfy fans without any context to the story. So, for example, Rise of Skywalker with Palpatine, no reason for him to be there. Even little things like, Kylo Ren putting the helmet together, there's no reason for that. Even bringing back Carrie Fisher in Rise of Skywalker, where there was no... you couldn't do anything with her because she was dead. So instead of rewriting something as hard as it would be, it's just they kind of tailored the story around the secondary dialogue. So that was a little bit of fan service as well. A little bit. But the fan service in The Mandalorian, especially this season, Ahsoka Tano, oh my God, how well done was that reveal of her. Luke Skywalker, holy crap. That was incredible. Boba Fett, incredible. Things with, the sand people and, the sandworms and Timothy Oliphant's character was a character in the books, brought him in where if you didn't read the books, it didn't matter, But if you did read the books, it's like, oh, wow, this is something cool. And they would put all those Easter eggs in. I mean, you can tell Jon Favreau is just a lover of Star Wars and a lover of fandom, where he creates such an excellent balance. And it's not only Favreau, it's Dave Filoni as well. And credit must be given to Kathleen Kennedy, where Kathleen Kennedy is in a position where if someone doesn't like Star Wars, oh, it's Kathleen Kennedy, it's all her fault, and they're gonna fire her, and it's all her fault, she's ruining Star Wars. But if Star Wars is good, oh, well, that's Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. They are the saviors of Star Wars, and Kathleen Kennedy is trying to stop them. It's like, no, Kathleen Kennedy's the head of fucking Lucasfilm. Okay, I would imagine she gets final approval of things, and what she says goes. So if listen, I didn't like Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker hurt. I can't watch Rise of Skywalker again. It hurts to watch. Okay. But I love The Mandalorian, and I love the stuff they do. I love Rebels and Clone Wars. You take the good with the bad. So if you're disparaging Kathleen Kennedy for something that's bad, you have to compliment her on something that's good. Okay? Please do not have this double standard, and please do not have this hypocrisy when it comes to her. So that being said, I can't wait. This is the greatest time to be a Star Wars fan. I know there are, I talk to people I know about Star Wars. They're saying, oh, it's too much. There's too much. It's going to have too much going on. I don't care. Listen, Star Wars, since the sequel trilogies, there have been some so-so things. There have been stuff where it's like, all right, well, whatever, okay. And there's been stuff that hasn't been good. There's been stuff that's been incredible. So, listen, we're in peak TV, and the writing is so good, and it draws from what I think The Last Jedi did, and even what Filoni has done with his projects, and now with Favreau. They see the gray, they see the nuance, they see the certain point of views where it's like, the Imperials call the rebels terrorists, the rebels call the Imperials evil, and then you look at the nuance, you look at the point of view, you look at the damage that war can bring. You look at that, you look and see what's the least amount of harm. You look and see what war can do to someone. Saw Gerrera's prime example, the person he turned into. But then again, you look at someone like Luke, who Luke killed millions of people on that first Death Star. The reason he did it was to save the Rebel Alliance going up against an empire that has killed millions of more people. So there are gray areas when it comes to war, and that's why war is terrible. So it's the nuance when it comes to these characters, and that's what makes storytelling, that's what makes movies, that's what makes TV when it's done right, that's what makes it beautiful. And Moff Gideon, raised the point, and listen, he's not dead either. It'll be so cool in Mandalorian season 3 if they bring Moff Gideon to the New Republic for justice. So we'll see, but Moff Gideon raised the point where it's not the Darksaber, because I was wondering too. I'm like, okay, so someone has the Darksaber. What's the big deal? The big deal is not the Darksaber. The big deal is the story behind the Darksaber. and traditions, and how just steeped it is in culture, where it's like Bo-Katan can say, I have the Darksaber, yay, and people would be like, well, how did you get it? What's the story behind it? So that provides a dilemma. And Mandalorian's like, I don't care, take it. And she's like, no. So that's going to be interesting to see how they thread that needle, how they get around that problem, because she has to win in battle. So, wow. It's just to see the reaction videos now, because I saw the reaction videos with Ahsoka and people are screaming. Some of those reaction videos, maybe you can tell like they're kind of putting it on. They're kind of exaggerating. They have a genuine reaction, but it's kind of being exaggerated. Some are just like genuine, like holy shit. I was like, I was laying down while watching this, and I kind of sat up from my bed when I saw, at first, you saw the lightsaber, and then it's like, oh, is that Ahsoka? But then you saw the X-Wing, it's like, holy crap, that's Luke. And then you saw the hood, and you saw the outfit, and you just, oh my God, the power that Luke wields is just ridiculous. So I hope we find out what happens to Grogu, because again, no mention of him. He's a very, very powerful kid, 50-year-old kid. Very powerful Jedi. And just so I would imagine, when he sat on the stone, he was kind of like, a beacon to Luke. Luke found out, he went to go get him. And just like when the X-Wing arrived, you saw Grogu's ears pop up, and I was like, oh my God, and just, the scene of letting go. I'm schwitzing now. That was powerful, and it's part of the hero's journey, having a mentor, letting go, moving on, and it's time for Grogu to move on. And what Luke said, the bond was strong, and Ahsoka mentioned that, and and attachments are not good when it comes to Jedi, and Grogu was having an attachment to the Mandalorian, and and Luke said he's asking for your permission to go. And so when Grogu got the permission from the Mandalorian, the attachment broke and Grogu was able to move on. Now, the danger when it comes to asking permission, now Grogu is just a baby, so Luke probably could excuse this because his powers aren't fully developed yet. But since Grogu's just a baby, it's okay, but where it can create a codependence, where if Grogu asks permission all the time for someone like the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian depends on his permission to give to Grogu, that creates a codependence. But again, Grogu's young enough to have for that bond to be broken. I mean, there's harm in it because Grogu did have a deep attachment to the Mandalorian. The less amount of harm is the fact that Mandalorian let him go, and the less amount of harm is that Grogu is forming bonds with Luke, and Grogu is powerful enough and wise enough to understand that this is his kind, and this is what will keep him out of danger, not only to others but to himself, because Grogu's power unchecked is really bad, like Emperor Palpatine levels kind of bad, probably worse. So it's going to be really cool to see what Luke does, what their relationship is going to be like, because between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, there's like 30 years. What happens in that 30 years? Maybe in Grogu's time, 30 years, maybe he's an adolescent by then, so what is he going to be like? Nothing can happen to Grogu. He has to live forever. God damn it. So incredible. And again, Star Wars as a foundation, it lets writers who grew up with this kind of play around. Like Lucas created the playground, now the writers can play in that playground. And and while Star Wars is some of my favorite movies, the foundations to Star Wars and the storytelling were, basic, well done, but, it was black and white. Now, with modern day writers, whether it's Filoni, whether it's Favreau, whether it's, I'm forgetting her name. I'm forgetting all the new stuff that's coming out, all different points of views, from Perkins, I think is her last name. She's going to do Rogue Squadron. The creator of Russian Doll is going to do something. So it's all these different point of views coming together. And using Lucas's playground to, again, develop nuance, to develop gray areas, to flesh out different characters. You know, the Star Wars trilogy was mostly white, was mostly men. And now we're seeing a lot of diversity, not only in humans, but in species and cultures. And it's just, and of course, based on us humans, because we're all human, you know, but it's drawing from different cultures to create something new. It's drawing on politics. It's drawing on power. It's drawing on action. You know, you need action, and you need, you know, it's drawing on philosophy. It's drawing on so many things, and this is just going to be endless because it's making so much money, and it's so good that it's not going to stop. It will never stop. It must never stop. So hopefully this podcast will never stop. So if you want to hear more, you know, you can rate. Well, I mean, you can rate to, you know, promote this, but if you want to hear more, feel free to scroll through the past podcasts on whatever you're listening to, and then you can find me on Twitter at MMAM Podcast. You can find me on Facebook at MMAM Podcast. You can email me with any questions, comments, or concerns at MMAMpodcast@gmail.com. And the great thing about The Mandalorian is that it provides escape. The great thing about TV and movies and music, because there's some music, movies, and more podcasts, it provides escape from the reality that we're living in. We're still in a pandemic. That being said, escape is good, but it can't be something that you're constantly in, because that can be harmful as well. So while we're not all Jedis, Jedis have power. We have power when we have knowledge. So please, now more than ever, get your knowledge from credible sources of information. News sources like the BBC, NPR, New York Times, Washington Post, USA Today, where you have gatekeepers of information that know how to vet that information, that help us navigate this minefield of misinformation that is killing people, that is harming people, that could, you know, possibly hurt you or someone that you care about. Get your information from credible sources, driven by experts. Because it could very well save your life. Do not get your information from someone like me. Do not get your information from, I'm not even an influencer, but don't get your information from an influencer. Get your information from scientific consensus, from experts, not from some podcaster who thinks they know something when they actually don't. Google Dunning-Kruger effect if you want to know more about that. But Google and make sure it's from a credible source. All right? I'm going to go cry now. All right, everyone. But tears of joy. Incredible. Thank you. Thank you, Jon Favreau. Thank you, Dave Filoni. Thank you, Kathleen Kennedy. Thank you all at Lucasfilm. Thank you, George Lucas. Can't forget George Lucas. God. Thank you. And thank you for listening. All right. Take care, everyone, and may the Force be with you. Bye. And I just watched the end credits. When Mandalorian ended, I just paused it because I was like, oh, my God. But then, you know, I said, oh, wow, this is really long credits. So then, you know, fast forwarded and saw the Book of Boba Fett teaser. So it looks like he's setting something up in Tatooine, in Jabba's palace. Bib Fortuna apparently survived. Well, you know, not for long. And it was definitely an homage to Return of the Jedi. Just Luke's entrance scene, but now it was Boba and Fennec. So that's going to be cool. What's going to happen with him? Is he going to set up his own little, you know, cartel, or is he going to take over the town, or is he going to, what is he going to do? A bounty hunter ring? Who knows? I can't wait to find out. Yay!